Okay, good morning, guys. This is Dan with the Bullish Bears team. Gonna do a quick pre-market stream for you guys, for all our YouTube followers this morning. Looking at banks this morning, guys. I've got JP Morgan pulled up. Last couple days, weeks, we've been trading kind of in this range. After earnings, it looks like we've kind of broken out of the down channel. We've got a bit of a bullish pennant from yesterday. And it looks like we might get some continuation today in the market. So I'm looking kind of at this bull pennant, this wedge. If we can start to get a few prints above yesterday's high, I'm going to mark out yesterday's high and set an alert right about here at or above. If we start printing above this area, we could actually run up to the top of the range around 104.50 today. So, we're not sure how high it's going to go. It might only go halfway through that range, but if it starts to print above 102.90s, maybe 103s, it could be a really good setup, a good play. All right, what's up, guys? Got a couple watchers now. So JP Morgan's definitely on my list. I'm also going to look at Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs, kind of a different pattern. It fell actually out of its major trading range, but it looks like it's trying to get back into it. And if you look at the pattern, it's kind of got this up channel megaphone pattern, just getting to the bottom of its range. Does have a little bit more room to go if it decides to rip today, so that could be a good play. Similar type of ascending wedge pennant pattern. And if we can get prints above roughly above this 195.75 range, we could maybe hit the top of this channel around 198. So and I'm just looking at sector rotation, guys. I mean, tech has been kind of hot lately. If you look at QQQ, we've had a nice, yesterday was a really nice day. Today looks like it might be a nice day. Maybe we get a little bit of a pullback and we start to see banks participate in this continued melt up rally. If we look at futures, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at futures. So futures has been in this consistent, just let me form a triangle wedge pennant ascending pattern, and just breaks out almost every time. As soon as it starts to get a little bit tight in the apex, you see futures just move up, consolidate, get tight. Like here was kind of a rising wedge. We bull penned out of that, and it's just triangle wedge after triangle. And here you see it again. I was anticipating potentially a pullback and back testing this trend line through here on futures before getting another move up. But I mean, look at price action. You've got all this volume right here close to the apex already breaking out. So that's pretty interesting to me. I still wonder if it's just going to break out and then just form a longer wedge. I feel like hypothetically we still need to create some kind of a further range, because it's been a little while since we back tested this trend line, and back testing these supports is completely healthy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here with futures, and then what happens with SPY. If you look at the longer term chart, I've got kind of my advanced customized GAN fans up here, looking for price to react in certain areas when it touches them, bounces off them, breaks through, and they act as magnets, similar to how you guys might have seen me draw Fibonacci in the past. So I'm looking at also these levels up here, this 28 level, for magnet for price. I mean, we're just melting up, and I think ultimately this is our ultimate destination, somewhere along this line, provided that we continue to have this great momentum, and provided that we break these horizontal levels. We've got a lot of horizontal resistance from these three peaks during the the great bear market of 2018, October, November, right? And I say that sarcastically, but yeah. So and it could take a while. Obviously, you could see these peaks actually connect with this GAN fan up here. So I mean, we could end up, not touching these levels to, March or even middle of March, or we may never touch them. It's all a matter of, do these momentum channels hold, and do they form new channels? If we look at the, the hourly charts, you can kind of see all these different contact points on the futures market. So, there's different trend lines that need to be back tested and hold before we move up higher. So we've got one right here, we've got one right here, and these are the lines I leave on my chart. They help me manage entries and exits. So that's futures. Let's take a look at ATVI. So Activision had earnings, and you can see right here we were in this falling wedge pattern. We kind of like a bit of a bull pennant from yesterday's after hour session. Pre-market session looks pretty good. Looks pretty good as long as Activision can stay above 43. You always wonder if, this was the range that was built out yesterday, so I drew this line yesterday, but there is a chance that we, backtest any one of these pre-market lows before moving higher, and we might not. If we start to drop, especially below yesterday's high, then Activision could retrace all the way back to the top of the falling wedge. So it's got downside risk to, 40.75. These are moving targets, these trend lines. So 40.75 to 40.50. Upside, you've got the range that was established last week for potential capping this run to the upside. Now, if this breaks, then there's even further chance for this thing to pop through and test. This trend line actually connects with some peaks if we go way back here on the 4-hour from beginning January. So, considering earnings is done, we'll just have to see how the stock reacts. It's going to be important for it to really get above this 44 level if this thing wants to continue to be a strong reversal out of this falling wedge. If it's not a strong reversal, you got this kind of pop and then immediate pullback to this to back test this falling wedge, former resistance, now support, and it doesn't bounce from there, then we kind of resume the downtrend. And it's one of these situations where the falling wedge just kind of turns into a bigger falling wedge or a greater down channel. So ATVI's got a lot to prove for itself right now. EA, this one's kind of interesting. This one, earnings, really nice reaction, and it's been consolidating in this upper range, kind of forming this ascending wedge pattern. And it's just it looks like lots of buying, lots of volume, kind of quick moves up, down, and it's looking more and more like this thing wants to, test this 106, 107 level, and then ultimately make a 50% retracement, which is always going to be this blue line on my charts. So that's around 112. The 200 SMA in EA is up around 113. I don't have any moving averages on my charts right now because I'm just showing you guys patterns. We put a lot of emphasis on candlesticks and patterns. That's why we have all our free candlestick courses. You guys can sign up, take those courses for free, and learn the ins and outs, which are, a lot of people don't focus on. They focus a lot on, moving averages and different indicators. And we want people to have a nice strong foundation in patterns and candlesticks first. So with that said, there is a 200 SMA daily up here in this 113 range. I'll chart it out a little bit more accurately later when I set up to take this trade. But as long as this thing continues to hold this ascending wedge pattern, keeps testing resistance, eventually it's either going to reject, get tired, buyers are going to get exhausted and just lose interest in it. and the bears are going to take over, and then, you know, bring it lower, back test this trend line, or we're going to break out, finally hit that 200 SMA. So that's EA. I think it's a really good setup. So we covered some banks, we covered the video games. Let's look at TWLO. This one's been a pretty hot one. This is one that Tim, our longer term swing trader, options trader, spread trader, has been in and out of throughout this rally, taking advantage of it. You can see a really strong up channel. We dropped out of it and then got right back in. So bulls hop back in on pretty decent volume in the pre-market for you know, for an extended hour session. That's pretty dang good, but to be expected, right, with earnings. So, you know, we're right back in. So this thing really needs to prove itself to get back into, to truly get back into this channel and maintain its momentum. If we go back and look further on the 4-hour chart, there's lots of trend lines that have been left behind, right? We completely left. And we actually, if you go through and look, there's a lot of angular resistance up here. So, you know, this channel might start to develop, and you won't really know until it decides if it's going to, you know, trade above this angular resistance, or is it going to start to reject, get below this trend line. You know, you get some daily prints below this. That's really when it starts to hit home for the bulls, where they're like, all right, this rally might be exhausted. So on a 4-hour chart, you're going to get much different trend lines and candles. If you look at the daily trend line support, it's still way out here, up around you know, 111, 112, 113. You know, it's a good idea too to change the color of your trend lines so you know which ones are daily trend lines. That way when you switch to a 4-hour chart, you're like, okay, yeah, there's the daily support way out here. So daily print below that trend line could put this on a kind of a bearish to slightly neutral momentum, and, you know, maybe we need to back test this trend line at some point, you know, later in the spring, you know, and that's completely healthy for a healthy company moving up in a massive way after you know, being in this really long trading range. Boom, breaks out. I mean, it's pulled back and back tested this plenty of times. What's to say it's not going to do it again? So you could love the company, but, you know, these provide really great trade setups when, you know, it just gets exhausted after earnings, pulls back, and then there's another great entry for bulls to hop in, and they'll wait for this thing to pull back before ultimately going long. So I think for day trading today, you kind of got to take it short and sweet with, you know, look for bull flags, look for bull pennants, look for volume to come in at the proper point. You know, you see a volume trend like this, and all of a sudden the flag's starting to get tighter and tighter. Boom, volume comes in, takes it out. So this could be a good setup today. Below this line, it could be really bearish. So this one's going to be interesting to play. And I think that's it. If you guys want to type in the chat, I do believe I have the top chat turned on. I'll take a look at any messages you guys write. Testing 1 2 3. I just typed in the chat. Oh, chat is disabled for this live stream. Let me see if I can fix that, fellas, boys and girls. Let's see. Enable live chat. Boom. All right, I just enabled the chat, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to type something out. I apologize. I thought it was on. You guys are just being shy. As far as low floats, I'm going to take a look at some of the low floats today. Gurn is pretty much a volume leader today. This one has kind of, it's actually not a low float, but it's a small cap. And looking at the range that it's been in kind of this descending triangle, broke out. Hourly is a bit of a flag pattern, but it would really need to break out pretty soon to confirm it. It does have high risk of back testing this trend line, so this one can sometimes be fun to trade. Other times, not so much. So we'll see if this thing backtests this trend line and then bounces. I do have my fibs drawn on this one. What's up, Alaskan Life? I know. You know what it was? I was playing with I haven't done a pre-market live stream in quite a while, and I was playing with the OBS settings, and that's the software we use to stream, and it was kind of all messed up. The resolution kept looking funky. What do you need a breakdown of, Alaskan? Let's see, solo. Oh, X. All right, so it looks like pretty nice momentum last couple days. Let's look at the longer term. You've got this major falling wedge pattern, and it actually broke. This will happen a lot. You'll see these falling wedges within falling wedges or down channels, and it looks like it broke, back tested, which is very healthy, and then bounced again, which is really nice, what you like to see. So it looks like the next hurdle for this thing to kind of overcome is that intraday high at 2350. And if we go further out and look at it, yep, yeah, right. So you got like you got like all those industrials and materials type stocks that might do well. This being one of them, if that's the case, at least that's the theory. So, you know, X has been interesting, getting above this area, climbed all the way back, now in this kind of tighter range right through here. And really, if it breaks this white line, that's kind of the next. Now that's on the 4 hour. If you look on the daily, so a lot of times this daily trend line here, it likes to get above, but it quickly retreats back below this. So if you switch to like a 4 hour, you can kind of see it's not really above it yet. But in terms of just overall momentum, I'd say the overall momentum is great. You really want to see after it tests, you know, back test this line like it did yesterday. This thing's really got to pop off strong and clear this 2350 to feel confident about it. Otherwise, it just falls back into this range, and then you've got like this 22 to 2350 range. Well, you missed. I don't know if you saw my first stream, but when I first started, I set some alerts. So I had got an alert for JP Morgan. I started with this JP Morgan above 102.91, roughly in this area. If you start seeing prints above 103, bullish patterns, bull pennants that hold, maintain, this could be a really good buy area for a day trade. Goldman Sachs, I've got a similar alert. It's got more of an ascending pattern. It's already actually above the alert level. So as long as there's some type of, you know, consolidation or bullish pattern up in this area, I'd like to try to trade GS up to the top of this trend line area. So those are what I'm looking for. So anywhere, these trend lines are moving targets. So really anywhere on this trend line, right, you got strong resistance here, strong resistance. This is just kind of proving itself left and right. And I want to take profit and sell into strength. So if this is getting close to this trend line, I want to start looking for the door to exit before everybody else and price just drops. So that's those two. Those are high on my list. In terms of EA, I'd really like to see EA get above this 107 line for a trade to this 112, possibly 113. Maybe Jazz joined late. I'm not sure if you joined late or not. But I'm just recapping all the stuff I've already discussed on this stream. Same with ATVI. I really want to see it break this angular resistance. And then there's kind of a quick trade up to like the 44, 44.25 level. And let's see, and TWLO, possible flag forming here for a play moving up. And as far as the gap scan, like I have the gap scan list, there's some low floats and stuff we'll be looking at, small caps we'll be looking at. I do want to pop back over into our community where we're doing this all day. So we have we've got a trade room, guys. We actually upgraded it recently, so now with our trade room we have live streaming embedding in the trade room. We've got an alert box. We've got multiple speakers on the microphone at any given point, and you know, it's really awesome. So we basically share ideas like this all day long, looking at patterns, trying to teach you know, support and resistance, good habits. It's what we're really all about. So if you guys are not a member of us, you can always try us, our monthly package. We offer a 2-week guarantee on it. So if you try us for 2 weeks and you decide you don't want to stay, no problem. We give you guys a full refund. Yeah, so if you guys want to come check us out, I'm going to head back over there. I hope you guys all have a great day. You know, remember, risk management's key, proper candlestick patterns, volume. It's really important to have discipline with these patterns. When these patterns start to break down, it's time to get out. They start to break out, you know, have a plan, trade the plan, stick to it. You guys have a great day. I'll be doing these pre-market streams a lot more, so hopefully a couple times a week, and I'll get to connect with all you guys on YouTube and have some fun. So happy trading, guys.